It was a bright spring morning in May 1804 when Lewis and Clark first set from St. Louis, Missouri. Along with 31 of his closest pals, Lewis and unofficial co-captain William Clark traveled by boat up the Mississippi River towards the Great Unknown, more formally known as the new section of land acquired by the Louisiana Purchase. Jefferson used his implied powers to buy this land for a small sum of money from the French in order to establish America as a farming nation.
Jefferson called upon his personal secretary to explore, discover, and document the flora and fauna of this new frontier. Lewis was the perfect choice for this post because of his formal education and scientific skills such as botany, astronomy, cartography, and medicine, perfect for the task at hand. However, there were other important members of the team too, such as translators, hunters, gunsmiths, blacksmiths, boat builders, tailors, lumberjacks, and soldiers. Some of these members were added during the first winter of the expedition, when the Corps of Discovery set up camp at Fort Mandan. Arguably the most notable member of the Corps of Discovery was a pregnant Native American woman by the name of Sacagawea. She served as a translator during the expedition, as well as a mediator between Native American tribes and the Corps of Discovery.
Sacagawea proved her worth many times. She was the final link of translation from the English language to the Native American language. This connection was vital to the support of the Corps of Discovery, enabling them to collect important information about the environment and purchase horses from the Shoshones, a Native American tribe living in the Rocky Mountains. The lack of a language barrier also prevented violence, which may have arose from tensions between the Corps of Discovery and the natives. Contrary to the modern-day romanticism of Sacagawea's significance, her role was confined by her responsibilities of caring for her newborn child.
So the new and improved Corps of Discovery set off again, leaving Fort Mandan behind as they traveled further into the Louisiana Territory. Their first stop, the Yellowstone River in Montana. It was here that the Corps of Discovery killed their first grizzly bear, a formidable task considering adult grizzlies can be as tall as 8 feet and weigh up to 800 pounds.
After this encounter, the group traveled by boat on the Missouri River. During this stretch, one of the Corps boats nearly overturned, and at least according to Lewis, many valuable items were saved by Sacagawea. Other than that, the journey went pretty smoothly, and when the Corps finally made it to the Native American landmark, Beaverhead Rock, Sacagawea took the lead. Several years prior to the exploration, Sacagawea had been kidnapped by the Hidatsi tribe. However, after meeting up with the Corps of Discovery, she directed them to the location where she believed her old tribe, the Shoshones, were likely to be.
On August 17th, Sacagawea finally reunited with her family that she was taken from as a child. Her brother, Kamawait, recognized her immediately, and their relationship led to a more welcoming vibe from the Native Americans. With the help of Sacagawea, the Corps of Discovery set out once again, this time with multiple horses and a mule to aid them on their journey.
With their new horses, the Corps began their descent into the Rocky Mountains. The terrain proved extremely tough, and there's barely any grass for the horses to eat. The Corps had to retreat multiple times back to the Shoshones' camp, but finally made it to the other side of the Rockies. Starving and desperate, they sought help from the Nez Perce Indians. The Nez Perce Indians proved extremely helpful, teaching the Corps of Discovery a new method to carve out canoes. With this skill, they set out onto the Clearwater River, with the current to their back for the first time in a little under 2 years.
The Clearwater River ran into the Columbian River, and the Corps of Discovery reached their final stretch on the journey to the Pacific Ocean. After almost a month in the Columbian River, November 7th seemed like a joyous day for the crew. Believing that he saw the Pacific Ocean, Clark wrote, "Ocean view, oh the joy!" However, he was deceived because the crew only saw the widening estuary of the Columbian River. It was not until November 24th that the crew saw the real deal, the Pacific Ocean.
The journey, however, was far from over. Still many miles from civilization, let alone their homes, the Corps had to decide where to set up camp for the long and dismal winter to come. The location of the fort was put to vote, and everyone from Clark to Sacagawea to York, a slave, helped decide to settle on the Clatsop Indian side of the Columbian River, and build a fort which would come to be known as Fort Clatsop.
On March 23, 1806, the Corps of Discovery packed up camp and said goodbye to the West Coast. Taking a shorter route than before, the group arrived in St. Louis once again, where they were regarded as heroes for their journey. Not even Jefferson expected the crew to return home safely. No one had ever accomplished something so unthinkable as crossing 8,000 miles of unknown territory, traversing the country from one coast to the other, documenting new discoveries, and returning to tell the tale. The scientific contributions redefined America, greatly expanding her record of known plants and animals, and successfully navigated in mapping the frontier in preparation for the upcoming age of westward expansion. It is quite remarkable that throughout the entire 28-month journey, the Corps of Discovery only lost one member, Sergeant Floyd, due to a ruptured appendix, and the near loss of Captain Lewis, who was mistaken for an elk. Despite the crew's impressive success, not everyone had a merry life after the expedition, as shown with the suicide of Meriwether Lewis on October 11, 1809.